Welcome back, everyone. So today we are exploring what I think is a pretty fascinating intersection in physiology, right? How your brain and your heart and your metabolism combine to manage that oxygen, your energy expenditure, and how it impacts your performance. So let's get started here. We're going to tackle the big players here: the Harris-Benedict, the Weir equation, which is calorimetry, how resting metabolism and physical activity, and even those thermic effects of food all contribute to the energy you burn each day. And as usual, based on Bloom's taxonomy, you're going to get 10 questions, so pause when you need to, think it through, and well, let's get into it. And this time, most of the questions are actually a little lower on the triangle because it's a lot of numbers, and we're going to bounce around a little bit between levels, not just a straight shot up. Question 1. RMR, your resting metabolic rate, accounts for approximately what percentage of total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE? Is it A, 90%? B, 60 to 75%, C, 15 to 30%, or D, 10%? And that answer is B, 60 to 75%. Your resting metabolic rate makes up actually the majority of your daily energy expenditure because organ function is very energy intensive even at rest. Pretty fascinating stuff. Question 2. How do extreme environmental temperatures affect your RMR? Does it have no effect? Does it increase in heat and decrease in cold? Does it increase in extreme heat or cold, or does it decrease in extreme heat or cold? And that answer is C. It's increase in both. So both environments increase your physiologic effort, whether you're sweating in hot environments or shivering in cold environments. So both of them are going to stress the body and raise your RMR. Question 3. Physical activity typically contributes to what percentage of daily energy expenditure? Is it A, up to 55%, B, 30 to 40%, C, 15 to 30, or D, at least or minimum of 5%? That answer is actually not that high as what I would hope. It's only about 15 to 30% C. Most, at least non-athletic, non-elite adults fall into this, average activity dependent range, about 15 to 30. But physical activity varies widely. Question 4. How does oxygen use compare between brain and skeletal muscle? This is an interesting question. So A, the brain uses 10 times as much as muscle. B, muscles use 100 times more. C, the brain uses 100 times more. And D, just the same, O2, despite the obvious size difference in all your muscles and your brain. The answer is actually D. It's the same oxygen consumption despite that size difference. This is basically a fun fact. You know I love those. So despite the small size of your brain compared to your entire muscular system, your brain consumes about 20% of oxygen at rest, which is similar to total muscle oxygen use also at rest. While your brain is only a tiny fraction of your body weight, it's basically an incredibly expensive organ to maintain, so it needs quite a bit of O2. Here's a little chart or graph I made to kind of break that down a little better for the chart lovers out there. Your brain is maybe 2% of your body mass, whereas skeletal muscle is almost 40% of your total body, yet the same oxygen consumption. Question 5. Name an example of direct calorimetry. Is it A, portable spirometry, B, computerized instrumentation, C, bag technique, or D, bomb calorimetry? The answer is D. Hopefully this one's pretty straightforward. Direct calorimetry, right, just quantifies just heat production. It is not the respiratory gas exchange. That's indirect. This is just burning something and finding out how much heat. Moving on up, question 6. What is the best method to measure total energy expenditure of a cyclist outdoors? Is it A, portable spirometry, B, bag technique, C, closed circuit spirometry, and D, water flow calorimetry? Hopefully the name kind of gave it away, even though this is technically a level 3 apply. Portable, right? The portable spirometry is the only method that allows that real-time field measurement out there, if you've ever seen this, of VO2 and VCO2. It is a pretty cool gadget. Told you, a lot of numbers. Question 7, what is the calorific value of oxygen? Think about this one. Is it 19.3, 3.51, 15.7, or 4.82 kilocalories? That answer is D. So this one's one you just got to remember. This is kind of that remember/understand moving up model. Aerobic metabolism yields about 4.8 to 5.0 kilocalories per liter of oxygen. It's usually rounded up to 5, but it's 4.82. Now, remember the caloric value of nutrients, which is your energy content, and the caloric equivalent of oxygen, which is your energy cost, are different. So to remember these, just focus on what is being measured, right? The fuel versus the fire. This one, like I said, is not just a level one. You got to think about it a little bit, and it deserves its own slide because this is where some students get a little tripped up. So the fuel, or the Atwater factors, is some students like the 4-9-4 rule. Carbs 4, fats 9, proteins 4. There's another mnemonic out there. Fats are fine, carbs and proteins are the floor for 9 and 4, and whatever works for you. That's the fuel. The fire, which is the caloric equivalent of O2, this is the 4.82 number kilocalories of energy released when 1 liter of oxygen is consumed to burn a standard fuel mix of fat and carbs and protein, which is usually a respiratory equivalent of 0.82. If you wanted to go through this, and we do in lecture a bit, carbs are at 5, they're higher, 5.05, so you get more calories of energy per oxygen, which is why a lot of athletes like carbs. Fat is less per oxygen, not per the fuel source itself, per gram of nutrient, right? Fats are much higher at 9 than carbs and proteins. And then if you take an average of those, which is your kind of standard assumption mixed diet, it's 4.82. So it takes oxygen to burn calories here. So O2 is the match, or the lighter fluid for the fire, no matter what fuel you are burning. So hopefully that helps. Question 8. This is a callback to a few questions ago. All the following are examples of indirect calorimetry, except which one? Computerized instrumentation, portable spirometry, bag technique, or bomb calorimetry. Hopefully this is also obvious. It's the bomb calorimetry. That directly measures heat, does not involve respiratory gas exchange or gas analysis. Direct is the gold standard, technically speaking, but it's rarely used in any clinical or field setting since it's so complex. Indirect is what you're going to see in almost all sports medicine clinics or performance labs. You know, the VO2 max or the metabolic cart you hear about, that's indirect. Here's a little chart again for the chart lovers, comparing the difference between direct and indirect. What is the variable? What's the setting? And the good and the bad of both of them. More numbers. Average daily energy expenditure for that's a wide range. General young adult male, 19 to 50-year-old, is it 1,800, 3,550, 2,300, or 2,900? This has actually tripped up a couple of people. Most non-athletic adult men expend about 2,500 to 3,000 kilocalories a day, which is why 2,900 is the answer. There's a nice chart here to break this all down. There it goes. Your RMR, right, which is basically just keeping the lights on in your body, is often about 60 to 75% of your total daily energy expenditure. The thermic effect of food, which is about 10%, but protein, remember, it can be higher, up to about 30%, is an interesting little piece that you cannot ignore. Your exercise activity thermogenesis, or your EAT, those are your planned sport or gym sessions, to be contrasted with the NEAT, your non-exercise thermogenesis, which is kind of cool. And then TDEE is your total daily energy expenditure. Strength and power athletes certainly consume more, often 3,500, maybe 5,000 kilocalories a day, which is pretty fascinating. But my favorite example by far is the Tour de France. They can consume 6,000 to 9,000 plus calories per day. I mean, it is ridiculous. They can just consume like crazy. All right, we'll end with an easy number. 1 met equals how many milliliters per kilogram per minute? Is it 6.4, 10.2, 3.5, or 2.0? Hopefully you know this one. It is letter C, 3.5 milliliters of oxygen per kilogram per minute by definition. All right, hope you got something out of it and enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.